this episode, we are full on spoilers for both the novel and the film.
Hi, I'm Bill, also known as Matt Stagger.
Hi, Max.
I'm Jim Father.
And I'm Glenn the Geeky Hippie. Welcome back to What the Adaptation, YouTube show that reviews adaptations from one format to another. Today is our third anniversary. I can't believe we've done 3 years. And so for that, we are celebrating by reviewing The Return of the King, the special edition, or the extended edition, the only real version of it, even though I've not seen it as many times as the other version, but it is the better version. The long version. What was it? 4 hours and 23 minutes, I think we said?
Yeah,
Something
4 hours,
that.
23 minutes, and theatrical was 3 hours and 15, I think. Pretty close.
Yeah. So there's
As I was rewatching it yesterday, I was pointing out to my wife, so this isn't in the theatrical. She couldn't remember anymore because we've watched only the extended for so long.
Same. I have the extended on Blu-ray, and it's the only one that I grab. I mean, it's right there on the shelf, so I grab that every time. Today, I went back and watched the theatrical.
It's shocking some of the things that are missing.
Yeah, there are just massive swaths that are not in here.
And Christopher Lee wasn't real happy about that.
I was just checking to see if IMDb had the extended cut version on there, and I don't see their page.
They don't see it.
I just see the theatrical. No, I just see the theatrical cut on IMDb.
So I'm assuming everybody loves this movie, right? That's kind of a gift.
Not the duration.
It kind of sets the standard for adaptations.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
And that's why the Return of the Lord of the Rings trilogy was our first 3 anniversary reviews.
Yep.
Because they are kind of the epitome of what an adaptation should and can be. It's more fair to say can be, not necessarily should, because there are some changes that I wasn't happy with. There are some changes that I 100% support. All right, what has changed from the source material, and did those changes affect your enjoyment of this film?
There was like a severe lack of singing, and it made me really happy. I'm just going to go with that.
Yeah, it kind of cuts out some of the slower stuff and moves it along.
Yeah, the pacing is way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, this movie has ruined the book for my son because he's like, why would I read the book now? This movie is so good. And it tells basically the same story.
Basically. Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely more dialogue in the movie.
There's the continuation of Aragorn's doubts of self-doubt in the movies. In the book, he's like, yeah, I'm going to be, returning as the king. I'm going to go back, take my throne. There was no doubt about that in the books. But in the movies, you kind of don't know if he's going to do it. I mean, but it's something that he was unsure of, and he had too much self-doubt about whether he should or ought, had the right to.
I think that makes the audience more sympathetic with him, because if there's one thing that our cynical modern audience gets is somebody who wants power and is willing to jump into it both feet without hesitation, maybe they shouldn't be trusted with power.
Right. That was a change to fit with the way people look at, those in power and those seeking power.
Sure.
So
one of the most striking changes to me is something they completely left out, and that's of course the scouring of the Shire.
Thank you. I said the same thing. I'm like,
I love that part of the book.
Parts of the book, yeah.
I understood why they cut it for time. I mean, purely for time. And the thing is so long. The movie already has like 5 endings. We don't need to do one more thing. But it's such a better way for the hobbits to come home.
Yeah.
And for us to see the transformation, because we've just seen them compared against Aragorn and Legolas and Gandalf, and now to see how transformed they are against their neighbors and what they're able to do. It's such a beautiful part of the story. And, to see Sauron go down the way he does there instead of in the extended edition.
I don't like that.
Yeah, that was my entire change thing I was going to mention. And, I remember like seeing some of the, I want to say, behind the scenes footage stuff, like their interviews with the director and stuff. I'm pretty sure his whole thing about not doing that is they didn't want to destroy the set. That's literally the entire reason they didn't want to destroy
Okay,
Discovery
okay.
Shire.
That's
They
fair.
didn't
'cause-
want to destroy the
Beautiful
set.
set.
Yeah, they didn't
I'm
want to destroy
sure
it.
the tourist dollars that set has brought in over the
Yeah.
years is completely worth it.
It
They're
had
like,
nothing to
"Eh."
do with they didn't want to extend it. They didn't want to destroy the set. That's why. From
It
my
could have been a
interview,
5-hour movie.
It's
It
a
could have
gorgeous
been.
set, because
yeah, and
I seriously, if I had the money, I would have that set replicated in my yard, both human size and Hobbit size, so that I could go into the Hobbit one and feel like an adult, like a human, or I can go into the human size and feel like I'm a Hobbit.
now
I'm a
my
nerd
memory
like
could be wrong on this, but I recall Peter Jackson saying this during interviews.
I
Like
wouldn't be surprised.
they straight up did not want to destroy the sets.
Yeah.
But I just love the idea of them all coming home to the Shire, destroying and becoming like murder hobos on the, was it the orcs and the other people?
Yeah, the big ones.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you came to their shire, so
Yeah.
you get what you get, and I'm all right with it.
And they just become like these total badasses. Like
Yeah,
you see them like running and hiding and killing a couple orcs along the way, and then they just come home and like murder rage.
That's
Although
fair.
Frodo
I mean,
did,
if I walked in and they were in my house,
Mhm,
sorry.
mhm.
Frodo did specifically try to keep them from killing anyone, at least other hobbits. But
Now, the ending they replaced it with totally works. And
I
it's
mean-
100%,
sentimental,
yeah.
it's sweet, and it still ends at the Grey Havens.
Are
So,
we you're talking about the bed jumping scene from the original movie?
No, for me, the penultimate is the "you bow to no one," which makes me cry every time.
oh man, it hits.
Every
I just
time.
watched it again last night. I'm like,
Yeah,
dang
Yeah.
it. What
It's same
the?
every
You
time I
can't watch
it.
that without feeling
I
it.
got
Yes.
teary-eyed at Grey Havens too. Grey Havens.
That
really,
one will partly do it too, but not as
that
much as the
was-
other one. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, that just absolutely gets me every time.
And the death of Theoden got to me too this time watching it. 'Cause I've always really liked Bernard Hill. Is just
he's great.
so
Yeah.
perfect. I mean, everybody in this movie is perfect in the role. I mean, John Noble as Denethor was
I
just.
love him in this movie.
I,
He so sucks
he
and
was
does it
so
brilliantly.
good. He was so good. I hated John Noble for years because I
Eating
just
that meal,
equated it.
that scene with the ride across Pelennor Fields while you've got the singing and it's so beautifully filmed and he's just there, the tomato goat tree.
Yeah, that's
brilliant
squishy.
scene.
Is that where
Oh.
they stole that from in Game of Thrones, was it?
Probably the Foley,
Probably.
the Foley work on that too, because I mean, there's just some really.
Wow.
I was really noticing the Foley work this time around watching. Some really squishy sounds.
So there is a change there. I believe in the books, he asked, was it? I always get them two mixed up. Pippin
Yes.
to sing, and he didn't make him sing in the books, but in the movie he made him sing, basically.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
we're
he
glad he
commanded it.
sings.
Yeah.
We're glad he sings.
It-
Yeah.
Like, but that is a difference. Like in the book,
Yes.
like he
Yes.
asked him to sing, and he like gave reasons not to, or he wouldn't make him sing.
Yeah.
But the
It's a
movie,
good thing.
like you basically made him.
Well, and that's the thing I want to point out, though, and it's part of why we love this adaptation, is that most of the changes from the book to the movie, we give 2 thumbs up. We're like, it just does it so well. And I'll give you another example. If I can give an example, I don't want to steal from other people.
Go
No,
for
no,
it.
knock yourself out.
The Path of the Dead and how they go and how that takes place in the books makes more sense, but how they do it in the movies is more dramatic, and the whole thing with the skulls coming down at them and in the book all
God, there were so many
those
skulls.
do is they get rid of the Corsairs and then they're released. They don't come to fight at Minas Tirith or any of that, but that was really fun to see.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. Them swarming is
Mhm.
one of my
Right.
core
It-
memories of the movie.
Watching that Green Horde swarm kind of though just
Fire ants, man.
it's not Deus Ex Machina, not really, not really close, but it makes me feel Deus Ex Machina's presence. You know, it's a little bit cheese looking too. You know, it's like my least favorite sequence in the entire trilogy is a lot of people's favorite. One of their favorites is Galadriel, the Dark Queen. You know, when during the Mirror of Galadriel scene and she's scaring Frodo. I hate that movie. I hate watching it. Whenever we'd go to the theater to watch it, I would get up and go out and have a cigarette just before that, so that I'm going to miss a scene. I might as well miss the scene I don't like. And I feel that the dead, when they're just this ocean wave green going up and over Minas Tirith and everywhere,
Yep,
just kind of felt a little bit on the cheesy side like that to me. But you know, I still love these movies, so it's not like it's not a negative, really. I
It's
mean,
not a deal breaker.
No, not a deal breaker at all.
and again, it's not how it is in the books. It's not there, but it does emphasize how the return of the king is what saves the day.
Yeah,
because they were losing. Doesn't matter. You just killed the Witch King of Angmar. There's still a whole bunch of people all over that city, and they're losing badly. So the return of the king wins the day.
I think it also goes to show that moment where he does release them, the kind of leader that Aragorn is going to be.
Yeah. But Gimli and Legolas, I love these guys and the way they're played in the movies. They're far more comical than they are in the books.
Yeah, that's
but that one where Gimli's like, they're kind of handy to have around, I'm paraphrasing, but the point is he's like, no, don't let him go, dude. Don't do it.
I have said this about the Two Towers, and you didn't see it much in the Fellowship, but Two Towers and Return of the King do a lot to make Gimli the joke.
Mm-hmm.
The serious butt end of the joke. And Gimli's always been my favorite, one of my favorite characters, as a kid growing up.
Yeah.
And so seeing him made the joke in the movies kind of annoyed me. I understand why they did it, but Jackson went to that too many times in these movies, I think, for my tastes. The most egregious was his fear of going into the paths of the dead. That whole I don't remember that in the book. Aragorn and Legolas going in and him not. I don't remember it like that.
He went. He just hesitated to think about why this might be a bad idea. Which creepy cave full of ghosts might be a bad idea.
He goes because he can't have an elf go underground where a dwarf won't. It was his pride that made him go.
Well, that makes sense too. I mean,
in the movie, there's a resentment towards making the dwarf the butt of the jokes. Okay.
I didn't pick up on that. It was friendly banter. And,
he was in on the jokes. Yeah, that's kind of where I always took it.
It leads us to that really special moment where he's like, Gimli's like, I never thought I'd die with an elf by my side. And he's like, how about a friend?
About a friend?
I mean, we wouldn't have that without those sort of connections, including the friendly banter that is literally, I can't tell you how many times, Glenn, you and I pick on each other. We don't take it personally. It's kind of our thing.
Right.
Still only counts as one. Yeah. All the banter is great.
The most egregious example of them doing it to Gimli, though, is actually in Two Towers. It's when they're running, and dwarves, or Tolkien very strongly implies or tells you flat out in The Hobbit that dwarves can run for days and then fight a battle.
Let me give a disclaimer. Pedantic Glenn is here. And go.
Dwarves, in The Hobbit, Tolkien flat out tells us dwarves can run for days and then fight a battle. Without not even needing to stop to catch their breath. When in the Two Towers, who's the one lagging at the back, running? I can't do this. It's the dwarf. The human should be back there. Aragorn and maybe Legolas should have been behind the dwarf. The dwarf's the one who should have been running just go ready to go, because that's the dwarven stamina. That but yeah, they've done a lot to lessen, in my opinion, Gimli throughout the
But
trilogy.
they're smart choices in that they were playing to the audience. They understood what was going to come across well, especially a lot of people who did not read these books first.
Yeah.
One point I'd make on that whole thing is dwarves run at their own pace for days, not at human paces or elf pace. That's
Okay.
a major difference.
Good point.
Okay.
His
I won't
stride
argue
is
that.
much shorter.
Yeah. And Aragorn is human-ish.
Human.
Ish.
Enhanced human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a little more going on with him.
Yeah.
Also 80 years old.
I think you were expecting your favorite character as a kid to be a total grumpy badass, and when they didn't go that route, it just sort of rubbed you the wrong way, which
Probably.
is fine.
I mean, they even cast one of my favorite actors to play him. I
yeah.
had no idea how happy I was when I heard John Rhys-Davies was playing Gimli. I'm like, there was nobody else.
And I easily given him ad-libbing because he's like trying to keep up with him.
No.
And that special little joy knowing what a big guy that is.
Yeah, he's the largest guy
to
in the
pull
party.
off playing as the dwarf. That's
Right.
impressive.
So, does anybody have a favorite scene or set of dialogue that is their favorite? I think one of mine is definitely Bernard Hill, when he's going down the line, hitting their spears with it, their lances with his swords, and he's shouting at them, giving that speech, riling them up. Dad. It's just like, yeah, that's probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
I
Particular movie.
remember thinking maybe it's not a good idea to hit the shaft of your soldiers' spears with your sword edge.
Fair,
I mean, maybe.
yeah.
It was the flat. You
The
can
flat
see
end.
it's the
I
flat edge.
know. It's just the
But
first
yeah, I
time I
get
saw
what
it,
you're
I
saying,
remember
'cause it's
thinking
like-
that. It's like, that's a
I
really
had
bad
to
idea.
look. Every time I've watched, I always look to make sure it's the flat of his blade. And yeah, it's the flat.
One of my favorites is, a lot of people love this one. Sam on the slope of Mount Doom. I may not be able to carry the ring, but I can carry you. And off he goes.
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
that.
honestly,
that I
that's
get, like,
the moment I was going to go with as well. And it sort of redefines my personal belief that Sam is the true hero of this story. 100%.
Amen. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't argue that. I've thought for a long time that Sam was the true hero. Other than Gilligan's joke. Now, Sam's a little badass, and
Well, you know what it is? It's the simple little things Sam does that makes him so. And I don't even want to say badass. I feel like we're putting some fighting value to it or
Right.
something, but it makes him so effective as that best friend who, will literally walk through the fires of Mount Doom for you. That's something we all crave, and they were able to display it beautifully, that friendship and what it means. I mean, I could never forgive him for naming his daughter Fredwina, Frodwina, something like that. I mean,
well, I know their first thought is Eleanor.
yeah, I know. But I'm like, other than that, Sam is pretty much perfect in this movie, and the casting was so good.
Yeah. Now, it reminds me of a small change that they did make in this adaptation that is not fitting for Sam. They do one little thing in this, and that's, when Gollum frames Sam for having stolen the bread, which he didn't, but Frodo, tells him to leave, go back, blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
And then they leave Sam, and Sam starts going down the stairs. He does not do that in the book.
No.
Sam wouldn't leave. He's there, he's stunned, and eventually he follows. But he wouldn't leave, and he was actually leaving in the movie until he found the bread, and that's why they did it that way, But
Right.
I think they only did
yeah.
that so they could do the whole Frodo Shelob fight
I got kind of
without.
distracted here looking at how many children Sam had. Holy crap, he got busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, him and Rosie.
Wow.
Hey, Rosie was beautiful.
hey,
Poor
yeah.
lady. That's all I
And
gotta say.
poor
Hey, she
Sean
was a willing
Astin.
participant. Come on.
Poor Sean Astin
Oh.
had to kiss that actress on set when they were getting married, and his wife was there. And he really didn't want to kiss the actress playing Rosie.
13
Because
children.
But a true actor can do that.
He just didn't.
I've done
feel
some
com-
acting.
he
I've
wasn't
been on
happy with it.
stage kissing
Yeah.
another woman with my wife in the audience. It happens.
I don't
It's
know if they were
awkward.
recently married, if they were just only early, recently married or what. But I saw something about that the other day, and I was like, interesting. So, what was your favorite scene or dialogue, Max?
I'm kind of thinking about either the scene with Mary and I can never think of her name, but the Witch King scene.
Ah,
Eowyn.
Eowyn.
I am no
And-
woman or no man.
Yep.
Yeah,
And they both
take
take him down. And then, of course, there's the inn scene where they're all bowing to the hobbits.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's such a good one.
Yeah.
You have to have a heart of stone to not be moved by that moment.
Yeah, I mean, this and Field of Dreams, when he plays catch with his dad, are the two movies that I cannot escape crying every time I watch it. Every time. I just cannot escape it. As soon as I mean, it's the look, the emotion in his voice of my friends, you bow to no one. And that, even now I'm getting a little verklempt.
Uh-huh.
Is there a scene or a set of dialogue that anybody doesn't like watching? Because I'll tell you, Frodo and Sam's journey in this movie, for a while there at the beginning, really plays into two of my major fears. Heights. I could not climb that stair. No.
Heck of a view. I was literally
happen.
thinking that. How do they sleep there? No.
And the other thing,
Very
my other
carefully.
fear is spiders. And Shelob is terrifying. Shelob is literally the stuff of my nightmares. I had nightmares after seeing this movie the first time of Shelob because Shelob was just so terrifying. So
yeah,
I have a hard time watching some of the early Kiravungal stuff, especially anything with Shelob and that stare.
I really don't have any key moment. I mean, as I'm trying to think of them, I thought of another one I love,
What's
which
that?
nobody mentioned yet.
For me,
The
I'd
one
say
where-
Sauron's death.
No, the one where Frodo and Gandalf are talking about, this isn't the end. And Gandalf has those lines for him about what they can look ahead to as they're sitting there in Minas Tirith.
Yeah.
That's Pippin. You said Frodo.
I said Frodo?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You confused me for
I didn't
a
mean
second.
Frodo.
That's all right. Once I
Yeah,
realized
totally
what
meant
scene you're
Pippin.
talking about, I knew you meant Pippin. It happens.
I love Denethor, that final scene of him impersonating a Roman candle right off the edge. I love that scene.
I turned to my wife and said, it's never struck me before. Why don't they have like a gate there? There's just that is the jump to your death door? Is that what it's for?
Probably the architecture is probably from the same guy who designed the Death Star.
Or the same guy who designed Tar Valon's White Tower.
Yeah.
Every time I watch the episodes where they're up there, I'm like, rails. Where are the rails?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Railings are important. All right. How did the quality of the production affect your viewing of this movie? Well, the production is like as good as you can get, isn't it?
There's a reason why it won 11 Academy Awards, most of them on the technical side for this movie.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
The lighting alone for Liv Tyler in her scenes where this ethereal glow is coming off, plus whatever touch-ups they did, After Effects, things like that, because they did something. it's so beautifully done that, show me a still from that movie and I can tell you what it is
Hmm.
immediately. And I think that's the hallmark of a well shot sort of narrative is, give me a flash of something real quick and I
Mhm.
can tell you what it's from.
Sure.
It's implanted in your brain. So they've done a really excellent job. Changed the whole industry. You know,
Okay.
on the
Seriously.
technical side of things, massively changed the whole industry. So
I'd say 21 years later, the graphics have held up pretty well.
Most of the time.
yeah, I can
There's
agree.
some CGI that has not kept up, but that's when it's straight CGI, like say the elephants. Like you can tell they're CGI.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can
Still
tell
so
there's
darn
composite
entertaining to
shots.
watch.
You
But
can-
they're
some of the-
still pretty good.
Yeah.
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 Some of the composite
But-
shots you can tell, like
Yeah.
we all love the scene when they go to bow, when the halflings go to bow, and but when they're standing there, they really to me, I don't know, watching it today, it was like, yeah, they don't quite look like they're standing there in this ring of amongst these people.
It's
I
still
could
pretty
see
decent.
it was
Yeah,
pretty
I mean,
good, but I
I've-
could still see it was composite. It wasn't the fact that I knew it was composite, it's that I could tell it was composite.
I've seen a lot worse modern ones.
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
Best way I could put it, if you've seen what was it? Three Body Problem?
Uh-huh.
I think it
Haven't seen
was.
that yet.
I
Or not
have.
Three Body Problem. Evil.
I love that show.
The season
I
finale,
have
they
seen
had a
Evil.
really bad scene, like in the season
Yeah,
finale,
The infant.
in
I know what
in
you're
the
talking about.
in the Vatican scene. It was like,
Yeah.
why? Why would you make such a bad scene? Like, just fly there. It was that bad. It was
Okay.
god awful.
I only
Like
know
the infant thing, like the CGI and the infant, like Bill mentioned, was like whatever. But like when they zoom out, it was like that is clearly just not even close to the Vatican or anything like that. And 21 years later, Lord of the Rings graphics have held up phenomenal.
I
They
can only
use a
think
lot of practical effects. Pretty sure
I
they
can
use
like-
miniatures in this.
A lot of miniatures,
Yeah.
especially for
Bigatures.
Ministerial. And
A lot
how
of
well they
bigatures.
blend
Yep.
practical with miniature.
Yeah.
It's almost seamless.
Yep.
I can only
But-
think of one other property that's about this old. It's a little bit younger, but it's about this old that has CG that still holds up, and that's Battlestar Galactica. Most of that CG holds
Oh, yeah.
up too.
Oh yeah, you can still watch that. I did a rewatch this
Yeah.
a couple years ago, and it was
I
still
haven't
brilliant.
watched Firefly in a few years, so I couldn't tell you if Firefly holds up as well. But
I was gonna say the Matrix 1 held up. Matrix 2, no. No. That didn't hold up the year after it came out.
First Matrix came out the same year of Fellowship, didn't it?
99.
99, yeah.
What year did Fellowship come out?
99.
Was
Pretty
it?
sure. 99, 2000, 2001.
Yeah,
Isn't
it
that
was
when they came
99,
out?
2000, somewhere around there.
2001.
Oh,
For
so it was
Fellowship?
01,
Okay.
02, 03. Okay, darn.
Yeah, because two towers. I remember people. It was after 9/11, and people. There were some people who thought that they were trying to cash in on the name, the Two Towers, by naming it that, not understanding that's the name of a book that was written 70 years ago.
Right, right, right.
You
Which
know?
is just, yeah.
Yeah. So another thing that's brilliant from this on the technical side is the music.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
it conveys emotion throughout and the feelings. I mean, if you watch this without the music, it's a different movie. I mean, there's so
Right.
much happening to you through the music, but you can just listen to the music and you're swept away again.
I do all the time. I will go so far as to say that, in my personal opinion, the Lord of the Rings soundtrack, these three movies, not so much The Hobbit, but these three movies specifically, is the best oeuvre of musical scores for a movie. It's the best collection of movie scores ever, and I think it's one of the best compositions for a symphony orchestra ever. You know, I think
Oh, yeah.
500 years from now, Howard Shore's name will be referred to in the same sort of manner as Mozart, Handel, Bach, all of them.
That is a
Just as
really
much as-
versatile guy, that
Yeah.
composer.
Yeah.
Just as much as John Williams' name is going to be said the same way.
I'm just imagining like an unauthorized copy of this. It has the wrong soundtrack. It's like half Looney Tunes or like the 1970s Return of the King.
Oh my goodness.
Just like replacing it. It'd be
where the elves look like goblins for
Yeah.
reasons.
You just think there's certain themes, musical themes, that when they hit,
Yeah.
the dun dun.
but they just
dun,
get like the exact wrong theme.
Yeah, if it came in wrong, then no.
And I love the strings for the Rohirrim. Everything with Rohan, it's that really Celtic sounding string, violin going. It's just, it's great.
Yeah.
There's only one set of soundtracks that I put anywhere near Lord of the Rings, and that's, I'll say it again, Battlestar Galactica. That's actually my favorite thing from PSG is the music.
I think the new Dune would be a close second for me.
Okay.
The Hans Zimmer soundtrack or score for the new Dune. But I'm a huge Dune guy. So maybe that's why, but I love that entire score. It's beautiful.
I made the mistake of trying to fall asleep and relax to it one night, and that's not fall asleep to classical music at all.
Well, no,
Not at all.
It's not nap time music at all.
No, it's very there's a lot of discordant sound and
There
sound in the Dune. I'm not dogging it. It's not my favorite by him.
It's not as lyrical, for sure.
Yeah. I could probably find plenty other Zimmer that I enjoy more than that particular one. I'm not dogging you for liking it. That's fine. I'm glad somebody likes it.
No, I
It
don't have problems
wasn't
with you
for
not
me.
liking
Yeah,
it.
it just wasn't.
It's for my
me.
enjoyment, not yours.
Right. But yeah, I will sit. I do listen to the Lord of the Rings soundtrack, a lot. Maybe not the albums themselves, but I've got the songs put into a playlist with other songs that I like, which a lot of those are played, off of soundtracks as well.
Bill actually has like a scene projector on his ceiling of it's just that Black Star Sun area in Dune 2.
Oh yeah.
He just sleeps to that.
I also have a portrait of Fade Ralpha right over there on the wall staring at me. It says best wishes.
Boston Butler Fade Rotha.
I wish.
Oh, you got the Sting
Yeah.
Fade Rotha.
I'll take both. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Sting. Come on.
Sting is Sting, man.
That was the best part of that original movie back in the 80s.
I was thinking of a Sean Connery space cowboy guy in poster.
Oh, don't you dare. With the sort of leotard suspenders and the banana hammock. That is god awful. Oh.
It's in your bathroom.
Oh.
Oh.
All right. So, anybody else have anything more on the production side, special effects? I did notice they used 2 Wilhelm screams. If anybody doesn't know what the Wilhelm scream is, right here, that was the Wilhelm scream. Do you guys know what the Wilhelm scream is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
There are plenty who don't, but yeah, I didn't realize he used it twice in this movie.
I only
Normally,
recall it that one time. So
Well, when Sauron's falling, no, that's not.
No, there was a second
That'd be
time.
great,
That would have been
though.
funny.
I would have been okay with it.
There was one earlier in the movie, and then there was one of the people who got picked up by a fell beast at Minas Tirith and thrown. One of them did a Wilhelm scream in the second half of the movie.
So it wasn't
Yeah, I
one
don't
of them
remember
where a
that
guy's
one.
falling off the Oliphant? Wasn't one of those? Because there's some
I thought
moments
there was a guy
there.
falling off that.
No,
way
maybe
back.
it was no, it
that's
was
the
a
one
guy
I'm
from
thinking.
Oliphant.
Yeah.
But there was one earlier than that. There was one
Okay.
earlier than that I remember.
Yeah,
that
I didn't catch the
noticed.
first one.
Should make that my doorbell.
Nice.
That's a good one. So let's pick on some actors. Was there a worst actor in this movie? No.
That's like having an ugly baby contest. I mean, it's so innocent and pure that you just can't. I
So
don't,
who
I don't
would you
think
say-
anybody was bad at
Who
any
would you
role.
peg as best actor in this? I know my
That's
answer.
also
It's
hard.
real simple. My answer is real simple. This is Sean Astin's movie.
Sean Astin, yeah.
Sean Astin's very good.
This is his
You know,
movie.
worst actor though, I can give you one.
Okay.
And Elijah Wood.
Oh,
He does fine as Frodo, but he's writing the character of Frodo. His acting at times is just good when you compare it to all the others. It's good, especially when you put it up against Sean Astin. Eh, here's Elijah Wood. Here's Sean Astin. My opinion.
Well,
It's
I
not
mean,
bad. It's not bad, but
I
it's
gotta cut
just
him a
it's more
slack where,
caricature than a lot of the
yeah,
others.
90% of his actual acting is be miserable.
Hmm.
So that's, you know, you're sort of stuck there.
Yeah.
right.
So it's partly what he's handed, is what you're saying, and I don't disagree with that.
Partly, yes. Partly.
I think he did a great job. I've always questioned the choice of him being cast as the role. Because Frodo really should be older than the other three hobbits by like a generation, or half a generation, where he's 50 and they're in their early 30s, So
No pedantic, my old
Hmm.
friend.
Hey,
It's
let's
good
give
to
a
see
shout out
you again.
on the plus side. Ian McKellen, man, he delivers Gandalf.
yes.
Ooh,
Oh,
Yes.
can you picture now anyone else playing Gandalf? Yeah,
no.
you just can't. He so owned it.
He's always been Gandalf since the first time I saw him in costume. I'm like, that's my headcanon when I read the book after seeing the movie. I pictured most of these actors.
I mean, years later, look, Gandalf's playing Magneto. That's
Right.
Yeah. Seriously. That's kind of how it is.
Right. Max, who's your favorite actor? Best actor in the
Favorite?
movie?
And they're also good. Students in Andy Serkis, just for his
Serkis is good.
craziness.
Man.
Yeah. I mean, his mocap completely changed the game in the industry.
Yep, and he's
The
still
Weta
doing it.
Workshop. They crushed it. So
As for worst, can we say Frodo's missing finger?
Oof.
Hey, I was watching
It's okay,
for
it
it,
got
and you could
cut.
totally see once it's gone,
Oh,
it's gone.
Phil.
It's gone.
Chew on that one, everybody.
sorry.
Two bad puns in a row.
Seriously.
In addition to Sean Astin, I really got to give a shout out to Miranda Otto as Eowyn. She's so good in the role. I mean, they're all so good in the role, but yeah, I absolutely love Miranda Otto as Eowyn. I've said for a long time that Sean Astin owns the third movie. Return of the King is Sean Astin's. Two Towers, the best actor is Andy Serkis. And Fellowship, the best actor was Sean Bean. That's just how it's always played out for me with those three. When Sean Bean's movie, then Andy Serkis's, and then it's Sean Astin's movie. And everybody else is just allowed to be in it.
Someone I saw for the first time in these movies, the second and the third, that I've gone on to love seeing in so much else is Carl Urban. As Yomer,
Yes.
he just does a solid job of it, but it's not that much of a character. He's just gruff all the time,
Right.
and doing his thing. But, he's played Bones, he's The Boys,
Dredd.
he so many things he's done now that I just love every time I see him.
His job as Judge Dredd with that mask on his face the
It's another one.
entire
Yes.
freaking movie. I'm
Right?
like, that was some damn good work when you can act and can emote with that disability of wearing a mask the entire film. All right.
And
What was-
an actor, I just want to toss out a question
Yeah.
for you all. This last watch through, the actor who plays Faramir, it finally struck me where I'd seen him otherwise. Have you guys seen the movie Van Helsing?
Yeah.
He plays the monk in Van Helsing,
Ah.
the comic relief. It's great. And I'm like, I'd never put that connection together before.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any other actors that I really got to give a shout out to. I mean, you guys all spotted Peter Jackson in the movie. He's the sailor that gets shot in the stomach, on one of the Corsairs. He also, his two kids were also in a shot. They're in all three movies, just like he is.
Yep.
This time they were playing kids in Minas Tirith.
Bumped my wife last night. Remember when they were hobbits?
Yep, and then they were in the caves and during Helm's Deep in the second movie. Trying to think if there's any other interesting cameo types that I noticed. No, that was it. So, what are some themes that were present in the book that were carried into the film?
Hope. That message of hope is pretty strong. Their friendship.
Trust me.
I mean, fellowship, if you will.
Yeah.
Credits.
Roll credits.
Definitely.
It was super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Yeah. Did anybody
power
have
corrupts? It's definitely there. The power being the ring, and then its corruptive influence for sure. All the lives it destroyed.
Evil always turns on itself. I mean, you got the orcs, Kirith Ungol turning and Minas Morgul turning on each other. You had Saruman and Grima Wormtongue turning on each other. Can't blame Grima at all, but for killing Saruman. For killing Saruman? No.
Not for killing Saruman, but for being there. That's his fault.
Yeah.
So I can blame him.
Yeah, I just won't blame him for killing Saruman. That was a deed that.
Oh no, we all wanted to kill Saruman, so that's fair.
And at least it was a stabbing him in the back too, which did stick with the book. So that for what that's worth, it wasn't in the right location or time, but it was the right way.
Now, Grima's actor Brad
Dourif. Brad
yeah.
Dourif.
Amazing how nasty a person looks just by shaving the eyebrows off. It's incredible.
Yeah. He does the voice of Chucky in all the Chucky movies except for one.
Well, he actually plays as himself in the first movie until that death
my
scene.
first experience with him was Peter DeVries. Peter DeVries, however you want to pronounce it.
Oh, yeah.
Dune.
That's right.
I just think it's funny that in Dune, he plays a character that's based on, in many ways, Grima Wormtongue, who he then later plays. Because there are some serious similarities between the two characters, and
sure,
he played them both, and I think it's great. Brad Dourif is one of those amazing actors that just he's not what I would call a leading actor, but he's
a workman.
The best damn supporting actor you can find. His roles on Star Trek were great too. He was on a few episodes of Star Trek, and I always liked that. Or at least one episode.
There are so many people who had roles on Star Trek. I mean, that's just one of those shows that attracted so many people.
I think actually it might only have been one episode he did on Star Trek. But I think he played a Betazoid.
He plays himself on the Chucky TV show as well.
Yep.
Yeah, we could talk for hours about all the great actors this series of movies had. What I like to think
Bloom,
of as one.
We haven't even mentioned what he's gone on to.
Yeah, that was his.
Is he still around?
First major movie. Oh yeah,
exactly.
He's doing a lot more independent stuff because he can afford to.
Yeah.
Who's that? I missed. Who you're referring to? I missed it.
Orlando Bloom.
Oh yeah, he's done some interesting stuff since then.
Yeah, the paddleboard scene. You guys remember that? That was just in the news.
No.
Was Black Hawk
you don't know
Down
that?
before?
Oh.
No.
Yeah, look up Orlando Bloom. No, don't look up Orlando Bloom and paddleboard. Trust me, don't.
I'm not looking that up.
He's
Keep your family filter on if you're going to.
I'm not looking that up. I'm looking up something else. See if Owen
Sure
was
you
in a
are,
movie.
Glenn. I noticed how quickly you jumped to the keyboard.
Yes, he was in Black Hawk Down. That's what I thought. And it came out the same year.
As far as like themes, what's kind of coming to mind here is that kind of like that Gandalf one of there's always that hope when things are at their worst. They're at the darkest.
Look for me at the dawn of the third day. Oh, wrong movie. Darn.
Yeah.
Wrong movie.
And it's like that's pretty much always every single movie, every book. There's always some kind of glimmer of hope when it's always at its worst. We get that with Frodo for this movie. We get it with Mr. Every battle basically in this movie.
Yeah, we got it from
Little bit glimmer of hope.
Aragon with Battle of Helm's Deep.
Yep.
Him and Legolas have that conversation. And so, yeah, totally. That's a running theme for all three.
Mm-hmm. And we get it, like I said, multiple times in this one book and movie alone.
Well, there's the other big theme. There's Eowyn was in love with Aragorn, or thought she was in love with Aragorn, and then she ends up meeting and falling in love with Faramir.
Rebound. Sorry, Faramir.
Yeah, right. You've got, Frodo and Sam, that platonic love. Merry and Pippin, their platonic love.
Theatrical cut, the bed jumping scene, love.
Right. Well, that's in the long version too, I think. But yeah, it's just obviously there's the Arwen and Aragorn. That's there. That's the big one. Sam and Rosie, although it's mostly Sam we're seeing in love with Rosie. We don't see her so much loving.
Well, not till Sam plucks up the courage to go say something.
Right.
And after everything they've been through, he can do that now.
Yes.
And it was clear it went well by the reactions of the other three.
And the 13 kids. I mean,
well, yeah, that too.
And that was another thing, I guess you could say, is personal growth. There was a lot of personal growth going on with these kids, especially with the four hobbits. Two of them grew literally, but
no more ant freaking juice for them.
I'm telling you.
I could use some ant juice.
I still wonder if they ever found their wives.
The ant wives. I don't think so.
I bet we'll see the ant wives on Rings of Power at some point. For all I know, they've already showed them. I don't know.
If it makes it that long.
Season.
They found a new world with steadings.
Weren't they the siege engines in the movies?
The ant wives got together with the Ogiers and said, "We don't need those other guys anymore."
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
That works. Anybody else have anything else to bring up?
Great movie. If you haven't seen this series, for the love of God, please do.
Please.
If you haven't read the books, audiobooks are available.
Really awesome narration by Andy Serkis. Not that.
Yeah, his narration is my favorite. So
I quite enjoyed it.
It's funny when you watch Golem go into the lava, he doesn't burn.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So he's still alive.
I chose not to react.
Just keep swimming.
I chose not to be pedantic about that activity. Because I did see a video a couple years ago where they threw a carcass of a pig into a volcano, and oh my goodness, it's like lava splurt like crazy. It's there would have been a heck of a mess.
So he's still alive.
Yeah,
he's just swimming
underwater under the lava. Well, Jim, thanks for joining us. It was great of you to help us talk this movie.
A pleasure to close out this series.
Always.
And Max, thanks for helping me put this team together. Glad you were able to come on for one of our anniversary videos finally.
Mm-hmm.
It's been great. Thank you guys at home for watching. Thank you for 3 years of watching our videos. Please continue watching our show, which means give us a like and a subscribe. That we appreciate it. And we'll be back soon with some Descent into Avernus here on What the Adaptation. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to be awesome.
See you.